girls, grab your beers.
Hey everybody, this is Charlie from Anthrax, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
This is Mark Metcalf, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio.
You are listening to today's Boondoggle with Bailey on Domain Cleveland Radio. Yes, Kato Kalin listens to this all the time.
Welcome to today's Boondoggle. Now here's your host.
I am Monty Heath, so one Heath, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle.
Hey, what's up? It's John from Skillet, and you are listening to today's Boondoggle on Domain Cleveland Radio.
Fasten your seatbelts.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bill Bailey with today's Boondoggle. And real quick housekeeping note, if you're watching us on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, please hit that follow and subscribe button. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, Google, whatever podcast platform you utilize, please hit that follow and subscribe button. We're also on social medias, Instagram, Facebook, even the TikTok. So hit us up on there as well, so I can continue to bring you conversations like the one I'm bringing you today. We are talking across the pond here to in Istanbul, Turkey, with Arda from the band NightBorn. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, all good. Thanks for having me. Hope all is well with you guys.
Yeah, man, doing good, doing good. Big day for you guys today, as we're going to get into. You know, the release of the new album just came out. Hammer
Exactly. Yeah, that's the one. Very exciting times for us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about that. But usually when I get people on for the first time, I like to get a quick background. So do you remember originally what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I actually had a photograph of mine from like when I was, I don't know, 7. And I was like dressed in a uniform with shorts and having a tennis racket in my hands, just copying, you know, like AC/DC. So I think I always had that idea of learning the guitar and, you know, being out there. And then I was 13 when I first saw Metallica, and that was like life-changing. It was on their prime, and since then, you know, I never stopped. So yeah.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about seeing Metallica. Where were you at for that?
That was in Istanbul as well, 93. And it was mind-blowing. None of my friends managed to go to that concert. And then I was there, and I actually was probably the only person who managed to get a VCR in there and filmed most of it. And I think that's the only footage of that particular show where like the Turkish audience went crazy when they saw it, like, because I put it on YouTube like 20 years after the show, and they were like, wow, there's footage from this show, and they were like going crazy, and it was fun to do so.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure the 20-year mark has passed, so Lars is over it, I'm sure. Right?
Exactly. Hopefully he won't sue me. Yeah.
Well, so let's talk about, like, what, you got to see Metallica at a young age, but what were some of your early influences at home?
Yeah. I mean, I think 90s was a crazy time for metal, even though grunge was taking kind of over. I was getting into more extreme bands, and the scene in Turkey wasn't too big at the time. We had a couple of good bands, but I was mostly into the Scandinavian stuff. So early thrash metal and black metal were my main influences, I think. And now when people hear our songs, they say, this is not thrash metal, like metalheads can be conservative sometimes. And I say, like, however you want to label it, it's fine. But I think I have these like different influences in there. I really liked the Finnish band Sentenced. and Dissection, of course. And I think they kind of pushed me towards more like faster stuff. And Slayer, of course, was one of my main influences all the time. And I like had some bands back in the day, but we never like managed to release an album. But I had so many riffs laying out here and there, and then like 2012, I think I said like maybe I should just have a one-man band and go like release these songs, try like releasing them and have it out there. And then after a while, people started saying like, "Come on, like, wouldn't you like playing live?" So then I started getting people to play live, and that's how we ended up here, I guess. That was the like short history of the band. So it goes back all the way to the 90s, actually.
Oh, nice. So you originally learned to play all the instruments yourself to record the songs and stuff, or?
Yes, I mean, apart from the drums, obviously, that's the hard stuff. And I mean, I do play drums a little bit. It's fun to play, but I could never play, metal drums, I guess. So I was just writing them on MIDI and then find someone who could play them, basically. In the last album, it was Karim from Septic Flesh. For the EP now, it was Simon from Agonist. So they're great players, obviously. I would never be able to play, like, come close to their level. So it was good to have them. I mean, even though I have live members, I thought, having big names on the recording would be a better way of promoting the band and its sound. So that was the idea. And I like working with different people as well. It's always fun.
And you said, that there wasn't too many, like the music scene wasn't too big there in Turkey, but like how were you connecting with some of these other bands in the region and getting to hear some of their stuff and those influences?
I mean, what happened was actually I moved away from the Turkish scene and I moved to UK. I was there living for like 10 years, then to Germany, then to Sweden. Now I'm actually back in Germany, in Berlin. So being so mobile makes it hard for having a band as well, because you can't practice, and that's why I try to get live musicians. If they can travel with me, that's fine. If they can't, I try to find local ones to do the shows. And but I was never in the, I think, Turkish scene at all. I mean, we had one black metal project. Now people think that was like really cool, but I was a bit of an outcast from the scene somehow. And now that I'm back here, I don't know the organizers. I don't know like many people here, so it's usually not very easy to arrange like concerts, So that's why I will currently going to focus on touring Germany or Europe for now. That's the idea, and maybe, if possible, North America as well. That's the first on my list, actually.
Nice. So basically, families in Turkey.
Yes.
But, you're living in Germany. That's where you call home right now.
Exactly. So, and that's why I think there were some confusion with different press releases. In some magazines it said like the Swedish band, and some it said the German band, some say Turkish band. So I just say European band, and that should cover it, because I don't think it's so important where you're from, as long as you connect with the music you make. So
then where's like the band based out of then? The five members you have.
My current members are all in Istanbul right now, and they're fine with touring if we can get some tour agents. That's another problematic aspect, because when you're an unsigned band and like an up and coming band, it's not easy to get tour agents. They all already have so many bands. So we try to do things our way right now, but of course, if we can get a tour agent, would be much better to organize these shows and go around with maybe bigger bands and get our name out there. Hopefully, that's the aim.
Well, let's talk about getting the name out there. How did Nightborn come together? And I'm always curious about band names. What's the meaning behind Nightborn?
Okay, it's there was a funny coincidence actually. There's this game World of Warcraft, and there is this like race called Nightborn in the game, and I actually do play that game every now and then. But the funny thing is, when I decided on this name Nightborn, the same year they came up with this name in the game. So many people think that I borrowed it from that game, but I actually came up with it earlier. And in the game, it's written with an E at the end. So my name, like the band name, had nothing to do with that. So the idea was actually came from a quote I came with when I was writing lyrics, where I said, like, when the night truly becomes your friend, then you have nothing else to fear but yourself. So this came from the idea of, like, you know, the obsession with, of course, you know, metal lyrics, with serial killers and stuff. So, you know, a person completely like born into the night as a different person, a different character. Maybe he's like this killer or like the stalker, and he's the scary person, but in the day it's something else. So I think the name actually came from that. And yeah, but many people think it's from World of Warcraft.
See, I had like vampires and werewolves coming up in my head, you know, when I was young.
That could work as well. Why not? I have a we had a shoot like a while back with vampires. We made a music video for our song Aphelion Dusk. People who've seen it, they liked it quite a lot. So yeah, we love vampires and werewolves, of course.
And then, you know, as we mentioned, the EP, the Hammer of the Heretic, dropped today.
Yeah.
What's the what was like the inspiration and message within this album?
With this album, because it's an EP, I thought we could go like into different areas for each song, different themes. And the original idea was to like have 3 songs and then maybe a cover, but then people said, like, let's not do a cover. So then I thought, like, let's have 3 fast songs and then like the last one that would be like a heavy song, slow. But then in the end, I changed my mind again, and we ended up with like 4 quite speedy songs. The first song, and for each song, I tried to try out like different vocal styles a little bit in my own way. And the first song was about this movie that I watched back in 2002, I think. It was a French horror film where this woman is walking in the night and she has an accident, she starts bleeding, but then she gets this obsession with her own flesh and starts eating herself eventually. So like this term autophagia, I think it's called, or autophagia, exists in medical terms. So I was like interested in this and cannibalism and so forth. So the first song I thought like would be a fast trash song, straightforward, can have this idea of cannibalism. The second song, again, quite a trashy song, which was based on the idea of like occult themes. And as you can hear in the name, Hammer of the Heretic, there was this book, Hammer of the Witches, you know, that led to burning of many people back in the day, the Maleus Maleficarum. So I thought this could be like a reverse version of that, where the heretics are having their revenge on the inquisitors or something like that. The lyrics are not so straightforward, but that was my idea writing the song. The third song is, I think, a little bit more like a black metal song in some parts. Is about just darkness and the like allure of darkness. And the last one, which was supposed to be a heavy song, which ended up like a death metal song. I thought, like, let's kill the drummer on this song. Let's make it as hard as possible. And yeah, the drummer, Simon, was very angry. And this one was about like hatred on dictatorships, because right now Turkey has a horrible government and many places around the world have authoritarianism. So this song is purely against those bastard dictators, you know. So that was the idea.
So yeah, I was reading up to get ready for this interview, and I'm glad you already mentioned the French film. Was it In My Skin? It was called, that you watched.
Exactly.
And, I wanted to ask about that. I was talking to my girlfriend about this getting ready for this interview too. Now the single was what, Impenitent Ones?
Yes.
It's the name of that song, and then the obviously the cannibalisms and the theme there. Like, give a little bit for the audience, like behind the story about that Impenitent One song, like the
Sure.
Zambian meat cannibalisms or whatever.
Yeah. The first the sparking moment was that film, Damma Peu, I think it's pronounced in French. Sorry for my horrible French pronunciation. In My Skin. That film was. I'm a horror movie freak, so I work with the local horror directors as well, here in Istanbul and Berlin as well. And I love it. And this film was really, really original, and the way she was acting, it wasn't just like a gore film or anything. It was like a love story with her own flesh. So it was very interesting. And then many years later, I think a couple of years earlier, I was watching this Netflix documentary where they were discussing this cannibal website called Zambian Meat, and people were actually like categorized as chefs or the food, basically, and people were actually willing, like voluntarily, going out there and telling people, like the chefs in this website, to eat them, basically. And there were two murders. I think one was it was either US or Canada, I can't remember, and the other was in Germany, I think. And it was mental. And I was like, whoa, this is like crazy. So, all those like strange, I don't know, themes behind cannibalism is quite interesting. So that got me into this song. And I wanted like this brutal, fast, shrieky vocals like song. I was trying to capture more of a like Sodom style of vocals on that one. I don't know if I came close, but that was the idea. So that's how it came about. And then I found this like crazy piece of artwork as well, and I thought, yeah, that like really is fitting, because there's like this mirror type of thing, this guy looking at himself, and that idea of eating yourself, your own skin. It's very interesting. So that's how it came about.
Yeah, that's wild, that Zambian meat story. I looked a little bit into that after you posted that. It's just crazy. People were volunteer for that and stuff. That's just...
It's mad.
Yeah, that's wild, man. And then, it like reminds me kind of like I guess maybe like a Hostel movie or something like that. Like, where the rich elitists can, capture people and do whatever the hell they want to them and live out their twisted vanity.
Yeah.
But there's people willing to volunteer for that. That's insane.
And currently, actually, I wrote to the director of that film, In My Skin, as well, and I asked her if I could use some of the footage in the movie for a like upcoming music video that we're planning to do. I think that will be like end of December. We'll be shooting, and she never replied, unfortunately. But we have that idea of having like I don't know how it's going to turn out, but two movies will be definitely driving us when we shoot this new music video. I think it will be either for Impenitent Ones or Hammer of the Heretic, and it's going to have one scene where this girl is kind of eating herself, but like in an obsessed way, not like a gory way. And the other movie that drives us is, I think it was a 1989 film called Society, where the final scene has this like strange body horror, like these like weird humans are like combine into like this one like huge entity, and everyone is eating each other, and like there's this
Yeah, I
feast,
seen
but it's disgusting.
that.
So
Yeah.
so that's I have like these ideas now. Maybe if we can manage to incorporate to incorporate into the music video.
Yeah, that's wild, man. I'm a big fan of horror movies and that genre of stuff. But you know, my girlfriend, when I was telling her a little bit about, she was like, "Yo, what do you got going on today?" I said, "I'm interviewing this guy from a band that writes about cannibalism and stuff." And she's like, "Ask him about what his thoughts are on Kuru or prion disease."
Aha, okay. I'm not that familiar with that one, so maybe I could, maybe you could tell me, and then I could use it for an upcoming song.
Well, supposedly you can get it from, by cannibalism, by eating human flesh. It's a
Okay.
disease that affects the brain and stuff.
All right. I know that there's this one disease. Is it the same one? Like, if you eat brain of an animal as well, it can like cause some problems, but I'm not.
I don't know
Very
if it's
sure.
the same thing. I was pretty much uneducated in it too until she mentioned it. I was like, she's a firefighter EMT, so her head's always in some sort of medical stuff. So.
All right. Well, it sounds interesting. I'm definitely gonna check that out. You
But
can
kinda like-
inspire me
maybe
for
like I
another
could
lyrics.
get or something from eating human flesh or something. They get,
Yeah, that
it
could be
affects them
cool.
neurologically or whatever. So. But then
All right.
I wanted to talk more on the track that you were talking about with the political track about
All right.
exposing dictatorship and stuff. Let's talk a little bit about putting that song together and the message you're sending out.
That song is if you live under an authoritarian regime, like it's a horrific experience, obviously. So the hatred towards the government, that was the inspiring moment for writing the lyrics, any authoritarian government. And the idea there is like eventually they will destroy themselves from within one way or another because they're so power hungry, and it talks about how it can manipulate people into votes, or how these systems still exist today. It's so interesting to me. And when you look at the people, even if people hate something, sometimes they do not rise against it. That's also an interesting like group psychology going on there. Like I think it's called collective action problem, because you think like, okay, I hate these guys, I want to go out to the streets, but if I'm alone, I can't do anything out there. So would there be anyone else thinking the same way as I? And then there's the fear factor as well, of course. So all these things coming together like sparked that energy that I wanted to like get it out. So it was quite political one. I usually don't try to write lyrics too politically, but this one came after this government in Turkey decided on killing animals on the street, the stray animals, because there are many dogs and cats in streets of Turkey, and people, look after them. People love them. It's like part of the culture. And when they came up and decided that they were gonna get rid of all the animals in the streets, people were furious. But I didn't see any uprising or anything like that. So that and these type of governments use like things like religion to get some sort of response or emotional like outburst from people to manipulate them easier. So these type of things like really anger me, and I guess that's where the song came like into being.
No, I feel you, man. I don't think it's just over there. Here in the United States, I think we're dealing with a lot of the same stuff, man. And just like the way they can use the propaganda machines and
Exactly.
media, just hypnotize people into like, hey, I don't agree with this, but like also making them believe that they're like isolated and they have no one that believes the same way they do or something. It's
For
crazy.
sure. And the funny thing is, like, even if we don't go back too much in history, like 80s, like metal bands were still talking about these issues, and it's funny that like so many years, decades later, it's still the same problems, like plaguing, like countries. It's just too annoying. The message never gets there somehow.
Yeah, exactly, man. And then I liked, I was looking into your work with Grizzly Productions. Want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. When I mean, it was a bit of a coincidence that I found Simon for the drums. I was looking for a drummer who would not only be able to play the songs, but also have a good, production doing it. And when I started talking to him, he said we could do this at Chris Donaldson's studios, recorded there. From the guitarist from Cryptopsy, and he said we'll get amazing results. And I was like, sure, let's do this. And just as he was getting prepared for the recording, there was a huge, like, I don't know, there was a pipe bursting in Montreal or something, like, but it was massive. It was like, water was like going up 60 meters high or something, and many parts of the neighborhood were like flooded and stuff. But in the end, it delayed us a little bit, but he managed to get the recording there. And then I was working with a producer to get the mixes done, but it didn't come about as well as I wanted. And then it was taking too long time as well. So then I asked Simon, like I said, what can we do? What would you recommend? And he said, Chris is on tour right now, but there is Remy who works with Chris. He's great, and he can do this very fast, and it would be most likely that up to what you expect. So I contacted Remy, and he has this production thing going on, like Grizzly Productions, and he did a phenomenal job. He did it in like 3 or 4 days, I think. Got all the things together and saved us. So it was really good working with him, and he reamped the guitars and everything, and it was quite good. Yeah, and I'll definitely work with him again in the future, hopefully.
Nice. And you mentioned, your work with like horror movie directors and stuff, like not only in Istanbul but in Germany as well. I see that connection with some of your music videos that I was checking out, like Grave Madness. You guys like really pushed the envelope with that one, and then Temporal Nightmare. You want to talk about putting those music videos together, and who was the crew you work with, and like the explain like the message that you're sending in those?
Definitely. For Grave Madness, I worked with Louis Fleischauer. He's a Berlin-based performance artist, and he has like really good eye for like visuals and so forth. And when I found out that he was doing this hanging by these hooks, I thought like, wow, because it was all real. And I was like, this is crazy. And this, I haven't seen that in any video before. Maybe there is, but I haven't. So I contacted him and I said, like, I want this in my music video. Like, let's hang a girl with hooks, like in Hellraiser, but in real, in completely like in a real way. And it was great. We found this like abandoned attic in Berlin in the middle of summer, and we had to make it look dark and gloomy as much as possible. And he asked me like which music videos you like most. And to be honest, in metal music, there are not that many great videos, I think. But one that comes instantly to my mind was Until It Sleeps by Metallica. It has this theatrical effect and everything. And then he said, "Oh, like I really like this chair that James is sitting on." And he came up with like, because he always works with animal horns and skulls and stuff, so he came up with this like things that was kind of a homage to Until It Sleeps, where I'm like singing. And the hanging part wasn't very easy because it was taking a lot of time, and it needs like she needed to mentally prepare for it. It's like some sort of body modification in a way. And but we managed. And when I tell people that it's real, they usually don't believe it. But it was quite disturbing for the first time watchers. So Louis, he's a great guy, and he has like these crazy performance stuff going on. But in the end, I ended up doing the color and all the video edits for that video. So I had to like combine my, background in horror movies, I guess, to do it. So it has some sort of like 90s elements as well, I guess, in there. But it came about quite fine. For the other one, Temple Nightmare, a very good friend of mine named John Evrenol. He is a horror director in Istanbul. He did this movie called Baskın, which is like a crazy horror film. And recently he did another one called Sayara, which is like more like an action movie. I think it got some awards in Cannes Film Festival as well. But anyway, he's a really good friend of mine, and I was asking him to direct a music video for me. And he knows I'm a perfectionist, and he was like saying, "You're gonna be criticizing me. I don't want it. Like I can't work with such pressures and so forth." Then I said, "Okay, then I'm gonna take your movie and I'm gonna edit it and make a music video out of it." And he said, "I have all the copyrights to it, so have it. Do whatever you want with it." And so I really liked that film. So I used his like vision to engage, and I engage with this song I had that talks about nightmares and night terrors and stuff, which I'm quite interested in as well. So it came about, I guess, quite well in that way. So that was the story.
Sure. And then getting back to Hammer the Heretic, let's talk about that. The inspiration for writing that song again. You touched on it a little bit, but it's.
I mean, I love, I guess, like any other metal band, the medieval stuff. And it was fascinating to read all these stories about the actual witch burnings and so forth. And I was in this small town for a couple of years in Germany, I think that was 2013, called Bamberg, which is close to Nuremberg. And I was like going around this town. It's like a very medieval looking old type of like cute houses, like small village with a river passing by and so forth. And I was, going to museums, trying to learn about its history and so forth. But then like this was kind of a bit hidden, but I accidentally came across that it was one of the main cities that witch burnings took place in Europe. It was one of the biggest ones, actually. So, all that imagery, all those like ideas, and that book I told you about, the Maleficarum, the Hammer of the Witches, which was used to, somehow like they thought they could find out who was the witch or whatever, to identify them and kill them. So, it came from that. And I thought I could blend that with some of the philosophies of the occult and some of the philosophies of existence, and it came about in that way. And hopefully, if we could make a music video for that one, it will have some witches, like, because the idea of the witch is like someone that looks really pretty that can lure you in or somehow like hypnotize you, but then inside they're like these demonic, very ugly, weird creatures, right? So that like contrast is quite interesting for me. Maybe visually that could be something interesting for the viewer. So I have these ideas right now to try out, basically.
Nice. Oh yeah, looking forward to it. You got a good team to work with to make that happen, I'm sure.
Definitely, hopefully.
And like we
Yeah.
said, that EP just dropped today. For the fans out there that are new to hearing about you guys and want to check it out, where do you send them?
We have a YouTube channel that has the songs and the music videos as well. So it's 4 brand new songs with this new EP. They can check it on any digital platforms, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and so forth. And we're still waiting on labels. If we can get one, hopefully we'll get some physical copies as well, CDs and LPs. That's the next step, hopefully. And they should definitely check it out. I hope everyone will enjoy it and keep metal alive.
Yeah, for sure, man. And then before we get ready to wrap up, I want to ask you a couple questions I normally ask guests that I have on. You talked about, your early influences, bootlegging Metallica and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Who are your current top 3 musical artists?
Currently, okay. I really like the revival thrash metal scene. So I would say there's this not very well known but up and coming great thrash metal band, like no bullshitting around, called Vorfect. They're from Sweden. They're amazing. Another great band, I would say, Traitor from Germany. They're very speedy, fast, crazy thrash metal. And another one I could say perhaps that I've been listening quite a bit lately is Evil. Many people know that one. It could be maybe a tie between Warbringer and Evil because I really like their stuff. They really brought back the thrash scene. They revived the thrash scene in a way, I would say. So it's quite good.
Nice. And talking with you, you seem like you do a lot of research for a lot of your lyrics and stuff, and seem well read. What's the last book that you read?
Oliver Sacks' Hallucinations. It's about trying to understand the human mind, hallucinations, dreams. Like I told you, like these nightmares and night terrors, where they come from. I really like reading, and my second job is, maybe I should mention that, is I'm an academician in Germany as well right now. I'm teaching political science. So that aspect gives me the political lyrics. And I have this curiosity to go into the scientific aspects of what I want to write about. So if I'm talking about witches, I just don't want to talk about demons and stuff, but what was the psychology behind this? And today, like in the current world, contemporary world, what is who are the witches now? Because, if you say certain things, you'll be outcast, right? So that, or you'll be canceled in social media and stuff like that. So, that blaming or laying the blame on some people or group of people has always been there. So trying to go into that more realistic or scientific aspects of things always awakens the curiosity in me. So that's what I try to read a lot on before trying to start writing the lyrics. I just don't want it to be straightforward lyrics, but have some substance there or some maybe poetic aspects. Same with the band artwork. They say, oh, thrash metal bands don't use such artwork. What is this? Is this a doom metal band or whatever? But, I feel like I express myself best that way. So that's how it comes about.
No, I love that, man. I'm big into some of my episodes I get into, I'm big into the conspiracy world and looking into the history of symbology and the ancient religions and who are the old cult leaders or the old religions that are carried around today for the people in power, like the elite and stuff like that, you know?
It's really, really interesting stuff there, you know. It's like, and sometimes, you know, when you know that some examples like that exist, that are out there and proven, then, you know, other things don't feel like they could be conspiracies. They could be really possible, you know, because you've seen the history and you've seen examples of this before. Then it doesn't seem so impossible anymore. So to look into those, I think, is quite interesting as well. Maybe could be a, you know, theme for a lyric for future there. Conspiracies and so forth.
Yeah, for sure, man. I've been big into that stuff, and I love, you know, and I've had a couple episodes like Shadow Band and, you know, Taken Down. We talk about the things that they don't like to talk about, but I'm just one of those curious people, and I think if we don't you know, research history in all aspects, we're doomed to repeat it, you know, like they say.
For sure. And if people are trying to ban you, that means you're selling something like true or correct, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what metal is about as well. Like, we have to go to those places that will challenge the existing orders, or say that maybe other people are scared to say. Like, when people ask me, like, why do you write about these serial killers or death and stuff? Like, are you like this psychopath or like these crazy people, like crazy person? But I say, like, no, I'm very happy and joyful person. But, you know, I like going into these different areas to understand like the humanity or humans, you know. That's like a basic curiosity that we all have. So it's good to challenge these things. Like, why can't I speak about that? I should be able to speak about that, and so forth. So yeah.
Well, I mean, the human mind, if you learn how it works, you know, you know, people also learn how they can manipulate it, you know. And
For sure.
you know, but if you're, you know, somebody that's you know, researching, that's pure of heart, I guess, you know, you're learning how not to be manipulated, how to look out for those things, and
those cues. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like I feel like, you know, I joke with my friends all the time. I got a whole house water filtration system. I don't get that fluoride stare that a lot of them get, you know, in the water.
Yeah.
It's like I'm taking precautions. I'm looking at things. Like, I can't even watch like movies anymore without seeing like hidden messages and stuff, you know. But call me crazy,
sure.
call me tinfoil hat, whatever, man. But, you know, there's
I agree. I mean, there's so many like cultural cues or those like hidden messages that you mentioned. I think it's even in advertising and, you know, music videos as well. Like, it's everywhere. And yeah, it's interesting to be able to spot those, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And then who are 3 people who've inspired you and you can credit for making you the person you are today?
All right. That's an interesting one. Well, I would definitely say my parents would be one to start with. I definitely looked up to James Hetfield for quite some time after that concert. I could say that musically, definitely. And maybe another musical character, John, which was the frontman of Dissection, the Swedish band. I would say those could be quite have an effect on me.
Nice. And then I love asking this one. It takes everybody back. But what was your favorite toy as a child?
My favorite toy was I had these Star Wars figures. I loved them. But one day it was a big bag of like these action figures, you know. I think they're quite collector items right now. And we had like, with my cousin, we had like quite a bit, like a lot of them actually. We had quite a bit of a collection, and because it was a big bag of toys, my aunt was carrying them and she forgot it in a taxi. And then we tried to find a guy, but he disappeared, and we never got the toys back. So it was like it's like a childhood trauma that I had from back then. It was horrendous. We lost all our toys in one go.
Yeah, that dude retired off of those toys and is living on some island somewhere, you know?
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best tip he ever got. Huh?
But I think I have this collector personality. Once I start collecting something, I can't stop. I have a guitar collection right now, and maybe at some point I might go back to collecting those figures just for the sake of childhood nostalgia, you know?
Yeah. Maybe you can buy your original ones back from that dude.
or that for sure.
Yeah, I got that same thing, man. I'm surrounded by a bunch of collections. I'm like, I run out of room. It's another addiction I gotta chill out on, you know. But I gotcha. Either like horror movies, comic books, action figures.
The girlfriend gets angry after a while when there's no more space in the house.
Yeah, exactly. So then I got to use that to subsidize taking her on a trip or something.
For sure. Yeah. True.
And then before we get ready to wrap up, I wanted to ask you if you could do me one last favor.
For sure.
Mind cutting a promo ID for the show? Just introduce yourself, and you're listening to today's Boondoggle.
Okay. Hey guys, this is Arda from NightBorn. You're listening to today's Boondoggle, and keep it up.
Awesome. Arda, man, thank you so much, dude. It was good talking with you. And everybody check out the EP out on Spotify or whatever today.
Thanks for having me, Bill. It was great talking to you.
All right. Take care, man.
Take care. Bye-bye.